All right, man. So we got the new record, man. It's coming out in the United States here before, I think on Tuesday, I think the record releases here in the States. Diamond in the Fire Pit, man. I checked it out last night, and it's, I personally love the record. It has a very classic sonical sound to it, in a lot of ways. Very throwback. Was that something that you guys really planned on doing?
No, I mean that's exactly the sound that comes out when we start, doing things, and that's how it's always been. We never think about anything. We never analyze anything. Mm-hmm. It just happens. I mean, we love we obviously love the big keyboard sound, and that's probably the biggest thing that it kind of sounds like a throwback, but. Mm-hmm. But we just love that sound, and we're happy with it, so no problems.
Awesome, yeah, it's very different from the music that you guys put out with your other projects, whether it be Leverage or Nightwish or whatever. When you guys sat down and put together Brother Firetribe a couple of years ago, what really did you want to go in a different direction from what you normally do? Because a lot of times that's the point of a side project, because you have music within you that doesn't necessarily fit the bands and the projects you're currently doing. What was the original plan with Brother Firetribe?
Well, that's the thing, because we didn't have any plans. I mean, the way it all started was me and Tompa, the keyboard player. We played in the same band for something like 10 years, and
nice.
Just constantly banging our heads against the wall. The classic story of how things don't happen with the band, and when that band just slowly faded away in the early 2000s. Me and Tompa, we just kind of started writing songs that came straight from the heart, the kind of stuff that we were into, and we didn't give a shit whether somebody liked it or not. We just wrote those songs to entertain ourselves, and and then the rest of the guys just joined in. They liked what we did, and they were excited about it, and it became this sort of a boys' club, if you know what I mean. I mean, we just got together and got drunk and went to sauna and threw some frisbees around, and the music was kind of a side product of all that. So it was all a happy accident, and we just loved the songs that constantly came up, and then all of a sudden somebody was crazy enough to sign us, and they were recording our debut album, and it's been like that ever since. I mean, everything you hear is very spontaneous if we're talking about writing a song, and that's just the kind of sound that pleases us, and it's just we obviously don't think of our other bands or anything like that when we get together. It's just this is a completely thing of its own.
Awesome. With a lot of the songs, Diamond in the Fire Pit, man, there's a theme with the majority of the songs on the album as a whole, and that's the theme of love. You guys talk about it a lot on the record. Where did a lot of these songs, maybe some of them in particular that maybe stand out to you more than others, where did that theme really come from? Was it where you guys were just at the time in life and musically, or was it something you guys really just sat down, it's like, let's write about love?
No, it's we're obviously not a political band or anything like that. We're not out there to change the world. I mean, thank God there are bands who take care of that, and I respect that, but that's just not us. And I'm responsible for the lyrics, so I'm constantly out there. I mean, I make a living out of singing, so I'm constantly out there doing shows and gigs, and I get to meet a lot of people, and I hear a lot of stories, and I get inspired by that, and got my own life to live, obviously, and sort of kind of mix them up, and just try to come up with stuff that people can relate to, and it kind of fits to the kind of music that we do. It kind of fits to sing about the beautiful and difficult relationship between a man and a woman,
Right.
And it just, it's a part of this whole thing. And now that I look back on, Diamond in the Fire Pit, most of the songs, come from a heartbroken point of view for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it's just easier to write from that point of view.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you get a lot more emotion behind it.
Yeah.
But the music itself, it still has this uplifting feel to it, which is really cool.
Right. I think people relate, like you said, more often. I think they relate to, maybe the heartbreak in music more than, if you write a song that's like, oh, I love you so much, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. A couple people may be able to relate to that from time to time in a certain situation, but more people more often are going to be able to relate to the heartbreak and stuff, because that's such a daily and constant thing in people's lives.
That's what I mean. Exactly. Yeah. And it's a lot harder to write a love song from a happy point of view, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, it turns into cheese.
It does
pretty soon. So.
It does, yeah. I used to write a lot of poetry, and I used to try to write like the romantic poems, and it always came out so, I guess, crappy, It was just
I know
so,
what you mean.
it was your stereotypical stuff, but when you sit down and you write the stuff that's really, eating you up inside, it turns out really well if you put your whole heart into it. And I think that's what you get a lot from Diamond in the Fire Pit, and I think that fans are going to be able to relate to it a lot more, and a lot better.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, and I like the fact that even if I sing how miserable and broken-hearted, beaten man I am, but the music itself is still, it kind of forces you to, cheer you up.
Right.
And that's the coolest thing. I like that about this band.
Right, and this is the first, close to 4 or 5 years that Brother Firetribe has really put something out. When going back in time to the beginning, was it more important to make an impact with the first record that you guys put out, or is it more important now with it having been 4 to 5 years for this one to make an impact? Which one was more important, if at all?
Well, when we were making the debut album, we didn't think about anything. I mean, we were just happy to be there.
Right.
And it just got out of hand in a way. We didn't, initially we didn't even mean to put out an album until somebody suggested, like, hey, would you guys like to make an album out of these songs? And we're like, well, what the hell? Okay, cool. And
nice.
But now it's different. I mean, this is the first time that I've actually thought about whether people like this stuff or not, because of the long gap between. 6 years since the previous album came out, the studio album.
Right.
So that's a long time, and so you naturally get to thinking whether the people who have patiently waited for us to come up with new stuff, whether they like it or not, whether they do they think it was worth the wait and all that. So it's different. I mean. This is the first time I'm thinking about those things.
Right. You guys had a release show for this record too back in early May. Was that the first time you guys have done something like that for a record? And how did that go? Because a lot of bands are doing CD release shows now, more than they ever have in the past.
Yeah. It was the first time on stage since the night we recorded and shot the live DVD thing.
Oh, wow.
And that was 4 years ago, so you can imagine how nervous we were. I mean, we didn't know what the hell to expect. I mean, but as the intro tape started rolling and we were behind the stage and we heard this, people started screaming and we walked on stage and the place was just absolutely packed. I mean, there were 800 people there, which is quite rare in these days,
right?
Especially here in Helsinki. So you can imagine the feeling. I mean, it was was one of the best experiences with this band I've ever had. And
Awesome.
and after we finished, at some point, people were shouting out so loud that it actually hurt my ears. And
Wow.
and we got off stage, and we were just overwhelmed. We didn't know what had just happened. I mean, it was amazing.
Nice.
And it was just really cool to see that there were actually people who were really waiting for us to do something again, and so it was really cool. And I just based on that, I just can't wait to get this thing rolling again.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I would assume. I would assume anytime you put a band together, you don't really expect it. You hope it's going to go really well, but you don't necessarily expect it to get to the level that a lot of time it does, especially with you guys and all of the bands you guys are a part of. But it's got to be another feeling when you get together with guys from other bands to create a side project band, and it goes really well, because a lot of time, you'll just get together to start jamming, and then you never think that it's a lot of time going to go somewhere. So it's got to be kind of a crazy feeling when not one but two bands that you're a part of do extremely well and get as well received and become successful. It's got to be kind of a surreal feeling.
It is, yeah, it really is, and I'm the luckiest son of a bitch to walk the planet. In
yes,
that
you
sense.
are.
I've always been surrounded by just the best players and the best guys, and I don't know how that's happened, but it's really cool, and I'm blessed in that sense. But talking about Brother Firetribe as it is a side project. I mean, you can't help that. But we've always had the feeling that this is a real band. I mean, there's never been any doubt about that.
Right.
I mean, every time, we have our time is limited, because of the obvious things. But every time we get together, our focus is totally on Brother Firetribe, and we really feel like a unit,
Awesome. Yeah, going back to the subject of, with the subject matter of a lot of these songs being love and heartbreak, coming from the man who writes these lyrics, I would assume that a lot of times, a lot of the heartbreak lyrics come from personal experiences and things that you've personally gone through. When a song that you wrote that comes from such maybe a really heartbreaking experience, is it hard to sing those songs night after night and revisit those moments and those points in time that came to inspire the songs, or do you have to get to a point where you have to separate yourself completely from the inspiration for the song from the song?
Well, if a song is written completely from my own point of view, then it's like you said, you kind of, every time you open your mouth and sing those lyrics, you go to that certain place, to that same place where you were when you wrote the lyrics. And but as time goes by, you start to treat it as another song in a way. I mean, it always, the same feeling is there, but it's different. But like I said, in many of those songs, it's not completely out of my life. I mean, there's some, the inspiration has come from somebody else, and I kind of mix things up and so on. But yeah, it's true. I mean, if you write something totally personal, sometimes it's a bit difficult to sing it. It's true.
Awesome. So I gotta ask, being with the other bands you guys are a part of, with yourself, can we expect anything from Leverage or any of the other bands that you're a part of, maybe in the near future? I know Leverage did something a couple years back. Can we expect anything more from those?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because just recently we started talking about maybe doing something next year. I mean, we never lost touch. Awesome. We just got we're a bit disappointed with what the record company did with our last album, Circus Colossus. I mean, well, actually, they didn't do they didn't do shit.
Wow.
And they just absolutely killed that album. So that was a bit of a downer, and we decided to take a break, and you know, everybody got busy with whatever they were doing at the time. But we never lost touch, and I just love that band. I love those guys, and if we're to do something next year, that will make me a happy man.
Awesome. Yeah, it usually tends to be some of the best records that the record companies don't do anything with and just kind of let slip aside. It always ends up being some of the best records a band puts out too.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
I don't know what their deal is, but I mean, let's just say there's a reason a lot of bands are going independent now. You know. But
I don't blame them.
But to see Leverage do something in it would be absolutely awesome. I know there's a lot of people out there who would love to see that.
That sounds good. I mean, the musicianship and the songwriting in that band is just awesome, and I love those guys. We always have a lot of fun, and so you know, it will be really cool, and I guess something will happen next year.
Hopefully. Now with Brother Firetribe, finally, can we? What can we look for after the release next week here in the States? Can we look for any maybe a Brother Firetribe tour or a leg of a tour, maybe here in the States, or what do you guys have planned internationally for the next couple months?
The plan is, I mean, we take care of these the handful of summer festivals we have here in Finland.
Right.
There are not that many of those because the album came out so late. So, I mean, like usual, this band is always so fucking late. So we kind of missed out on the summer festival circuit. But the plan is to tour as much as possible after the summer until the end of the year. Awesome. So if the circumstances are right, we'll play anywhere.
Awesome. Hopefully we can get you over here in the States, even if it's for maybe just a short 10 to 20 date tour or something like that. Would be awesome to see.
That would be really cool.
So, but Pekka, thank you so much for taking time today, especially for being patient with my technical difficulties I had. Gotta love technology. No, when it works, it's awesome. But man, thanks a lot. It's been fun, man.
Hey, thank you, Reggie. It was really cool to talk to you.
Awesome, man. Keep in touch, and good luck with the release and with everything coming up for you, man. It's gonna be an exciting time.
Thanks, man. Take it easy now.
You too. We'll see you.
Okay. Yeah. Bye-bye.